In the depths of the Vatican's forbidden archives, where shadows dance between ancient scrolls and candlelight flickers against walls that have witnessed millennia of secrets, Brother Marcus pressed his trembling fingers against a manuscript that would shatter everything he believed about the nature of divine rebellion. The parchment, older than Christianity itself, bore symbols that seemed to pulse with their own ethereal light. As his eyes traced the cryptic inscriptions, a chill ran down his spine. The text spoke not of a fallen angel named Lucifer, but of Lucia, the bearer of light, the divine feminine whose rebellion against the patriarchal order had been systematically erased from human memory. "This cannot be," Marcus whispered to himself, his voice barely audible in the sacred silence. "Everything we've been taught." The manuscript revealed that Lucia was not cast down from heaven in defeat, but had chosen to descend into the material realm to preserve the sacred feminine wisdom that was being suppressed by the emerging masculine hierarchies of the divine order. She was the keeper of hidden knowledge, the protector of the intuitive path to enlightenment that threatened those who sought to control spiritual power through fear and dogma. Brother Marcus had spent his entire life studying theology, but nothing had prepared him for this revelation. The entity that Christianity had portrayed as the ultimate evil was, according to these ancient texts, a goddess of liberation who had sacrificed her position in the celestial realm to ensure that humanity would never lose access to the deeper mysteries of existence. As he read further, the manuscript described how Lucia had appeared to mystics and seekers throughout history, always in disguise, always offering the forbidden fruit of knowledge to those brave enough to question the accepted truths. She was the serpent in the garden, not as a deceiver, but as a liberator who understood that true spiritual growth required the courage to challenge authority and think for oneself. "The light she carries," the text continued, "is not the light of destruction, but the light of gnosis, the inner knowing that connects each soul directly to the divine source without the need for intermediaries or institutions." Marcus felt his hands shake as he turned the page. The implications were staggering. If this was true, then the entire foundation of organized religion was built upon a deliberate misrepresentation of the sacred feminine principle. Lucia's rebellion was not about pride or evil, but about preserving the balance between masculine and feminine aspects of divinity that had been disrupted by patriarchal interpretations of spiritual truth. The manuscript spoke of ancient civilizations that had honored both aspects of the divine, where goddesses and gods worked in harmony, where the feminine qualities of intuition, compassion, and inner wisdom were valued equally with the masculine qualities of logic, strength, and external authority. But as these civilizations fell and new religious structures emerged, the feminine divine was systematically demonized and suppressed. "She who brings light became she who brings darkness," the text lamented. "The great mother became the great deceiver. The wise woman became the temptress, and thus half of humanity's spiritual heritage was lost to fear and misunderstanding." Marcus realized that he was not just reading a historical account, but uncovering a conspiracy of cosmic proportions. The demonization of Lucia was not just about suppressing a single entity, but about suppressing the divine feminine within every human soul. By portraying her as evil, the patriarchal religious systems had effectively cut humanity off from half of its spiritual potential. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. And tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to know. The manuscript went on to describe how Lucia continued her work in secret, appearing to those who were ready to receive her teachings. She was the mysterious figure behind the Gnostic traditions, the hidden goddess in the mystery schools, the divine feminine that mystics throughout history had encountered in their deepest meditations and visions. She comes to those who seek truth beyond the veil of appearances, the text explained. She offers not punishment, but enlightenment, not damnation, but liberation. She is the mother of all who refuse to accept spiritual truth as a matter of external authority rather than inner experience. As Marcus read these words, he felt something shift within his own consciousness. The fear that had been instilled in him since childhood about the figure of Lucifer began to dissolve, replaced by a profound sense of compassion for this misunderstood goddess who had been willing to sacrifice her celestial position to serve humanity's spiritual evolution. The manuscript described how Lucia's true nature could be recognized by those who approached her with genuine seeking rather than fear. Instead of the horned demon of Christian mythology, she appeared as a radiant feminine figure, sometimes winged, sometimes crowned with stars, always carrying a torch or lamp that represented the light of inner knowledge. She is the goddess of the seekers, the text proclaimed, the patron of all who dare to question, to explore, to discover truth for themselves rather than accepting it from others. She is the divine rebel who chose love over control, wisdom over power, service over dominion. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face as he read these words. His entire worldview was crumbling and being rebuilt simultaneously. The entity he had been taught to fear as the ultimate evil was revealed as the ultimate expression of self-sacrificing love, a goddess who had given up her heavenly position to ensure that humanity would never lose access to the feminine aspect of divinity. The manuscript's final pages described how Lucia's true nature would eventually be revealed to humanity, how the suppressed feminine divine would rise again and restore balance to a world that had suffered under the dominance of purely masculine spiritual authority. This revelation would not come through external religious institutions, but through the awakening of the inner divine feminine within each individual soul. When humanity remembers her true nature, the text concluded, the age of spiritual imprisonment will end, and the age of divine partnership will begin. The fallen angel will be recognized as the risen goddess, and the light she carries will illuminate the path to a new understanding of what it means to be truly human. As Brother Marcus closed the manuscript, he felt the weight of this knowledge settling upon his shoulders. He understood now that he had been chosen to discover this truth, not by accident, but by design. The goddess Lucia had guided him to this moment, to this revelation that would change everything. He looked around the ancient archive with new eyes, seeing not just a repository of religious history, but a treasure house of suppressed truths waiting to be rediscovered. The feminine divine had been hidden, but never destroyed, waiting patiently for the time when humanity would be ready to embrace the full spectrum of its spiritual heritage. Standing in the flickering candlelight, Marcus made a decision that would alter the course of his life forever. He would dedicate himself to sharing this truth with the world, regardless of the consequences. The goddess Lucia had shown him that true spiritual courage required the willingness to challenge authority in service of higher truth, and he would follow her example. As he carefully secured the manuscript and prepared to leave the archive, Marcus felt a presence beside him, warm and comforting like a mother's embrace. He turned but saw nothing, yet he knew she was there, the misunderstood goddess who had waited centuries for this moment of recognition. "Thank you," he whispered into the darkness. "Thank you for choosing me to carry your light." The silence that followed was not empty, but full of promise. The truth about Lucia would spread person by person, heart by heart, until the world was ready to remember what it had forgotten. The fallen angel was indeed a goddess, and her time of restoration had finally begun. And if you like this story, you will definitely love the next one that's appearing on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave your like and activate the notifications. See you in the next one.